Hi, it's Cindy, that crafting lady. In today's video, I am going to show you how to make these 3 fall farmhouse accents for your home decor. Let's get crafting. Okay, so for today's first project, I'm going to take this little wooden, I don't know, looks like a canning jar from Dollar Tree, some Waverly chalk paint and pumpkin, some Mod Podge, I think that's matte, and then I am going to use one of those window decals from Dollar Tree also. So first thing I got to do is take off all the little things that are on it. So we're going to get rid of the bow. It's all glued on, so I'll use my heat gun so it'll release. And just snip it off here and get rid of that little piece of twine. All right, might as well throw it out. All right, get it out of the way. So now I am going to heat up the metal part so that I can get that off, because we're actually going to be doing our project on the other side, and I do want to use this metal piece. So just use some glue, or some heat, not glue, and basically just until it lifts up. And once it lifts up, I can just peel off the whole front. And there we go. We get that all off and ready to go. And take off that and discard that piece. And then I took off the tag, used my heat gun to do that, and then some nail polish remover just to get any of the glue residue off of it. So this side is kind of feels like, I don't know, like a cardboard type thing. So I want to make it look finished. So we're just going to use a piece of craft paper. And instead of using Mod Podge, I'm going to use my fabric tack here. And I'm just going to give it a good coat. I don't want it to be real gloppy, but I want to get enough on there so that it's going to hold real well, and it's going to look all nice and finished. So we'll just keep going with some fabric tack, and then I'm going to use a little spatula and get it all smoothed out so that it's not really lumpy or anything like that. You got to work a little quickly because the fabric tack will set up fairly fast. But it'll hold really well once you get it done. All right, wipe that off and get any excess glue. And now I'm going to use my little brayer from Plaid and smooth down that craft paper. Keeps going off the edge. Just make sure that it's got good contact all the way to the edges. Now, we're going to turn that over, and I'll get out my self-healing mat and a craft knife here, and I will cut all the excess paper off. And so just take my craft knife and go all the way around it, so make the edge nice and neat. You just got to really take your time with this, because you don't want to cut the wood and you don't want it to be hanging over either. So just go all the way around. I know you can't see, but I'm kind of going into those little depressions on the top there where it makes like the mason jar lid. And then coming around the other side. And sorry it's off camera, guys. I will try to be better in the future. And we'll take it off. It actually doesn't look too bad. There's a couple little pieces, so I'll just take my scissors and get that cut. And there we go. It's a nice finished back. All right. So now what we need to do is paint this in the Waverly pumpkin chalk paint, and I'll be right back. All right. So now I painted it. I had to do 2 coats to cover nicely, and now we will start with our decoupage. So we will take the static cling that we're going to place, and we're going to take our Mod Podge. I always mess that up. And we're going to do a nice thin coat on here. We don't want to put a lot. We don't want it gloppy or anything like that. So we'll just brush it all over where we want our window decal to go. There we go. Nice even coat. Nice thin even coat. And there we go. All right. Now I'm going to line it up. Again, sorry it's off camera, guys. I'll bring it back up, I promise. And then just lay it down gently and try to get out as many air bubbles as you can as you're laying it down. And then I just use my little brayer it on, make sure it's stuck into that Mod Podge really good. And then I'll just take my little burnishing tool and I will get out all those excess air bubbles. See, they're just pushing right out the bottom there. It looks really good. I think this is going to come out really nice, guys. I hope so. There we go. Push out all those air bubbles. And then we're going to put a coat of the Mod Podge all over the top of it to seal it in nice and good. So again, it's going to just be a very thin coat, nice and even, and then we're going to have to let that completely dry before we finish. There we go, got it on there. I am so glad to be making videos again. This is amazing. If you guys haven't subscribed to my channel, I would appreciate you doing so. And don't forget, hit the bell icon so you can be notified when I do upload more videos. All right, so we're going to let that dry. And I think we might as well set this on because it's not going to interfere. So I'll take my hot glue and using my Surebonder, because that's the only way I go. Surebonder, stick with the best. And just put a little line there and put that on. And then let everything dry nice and fully. And then we'll come back. All right, here we go. Now it's all dry. And the last thing I want to do is add just a little twine to the top. So I want to add like a little accent piece, kind of like what was already there, but mine's going to look much nicer. At least I think so. So I'm just adding a little dab of glue right there, and then I will wind the twine right around that depression all the way at the top 3 or 4 times. You know, the other one was only there twice, so this gives it a really good look, nice and thick. Not as little as the other one. Snip off the excess and then just glue it down in the back so you can't see it. No problem. Push it down with my little makeup tool there that I think is the best. And then I'm just going to make a little shoelace bow because I am so bow challenged. I think just a plain shoelace bow will be good. But I'm going to make it out of 2 or 3 strands of the jute, so it'll make it a little thicker and give it a nice look, even though it's just a little teeny shoelace bow. Cut off the excess, and I will tie a little knot here and then tie the bow. So around. See, told you I am bow challenged. I am just having the hardest time trying to figure out how to do this. But I know I'll do it. Oh, you know what? I'm not even going to tie a shoelace bow. I am just going to loop it over on itself like that, and then I am going to glue it down once I get it to how I like it. Put it right back where it was, and then push that right into the glue. Use my little facial spatula there. And then I'll cut off those tails, make them look kind of cute, right where I want them. And then I think it needs one little more thing. Yep, I think I'm going to put just a small flower on here. So I've got this little orange flower from another project. Just going to kind of twist it all up because it's kind of an open flower. And I'm going to make it more closed. Add a little touch of hot glue right there and put the flower right into it and hold it down till it just sets. Doesn't take long at all. And there we go. I think we have a very cute finished project. Okay, so I got this little sign at Dollar Tree, and wow, I really don't like the look of that fabric on there. That bow really needs to be taken off, so I'm going to use that along with those two little pumpkins, some Waverly chalk paint in pumpkin. I'm also going to use some Ivory Waverly chalk paint and some antique wax in the brown antique wax, some raffia, and of course we'll start off by dismantling this project first. So we'll get my heat gun out and we will heat up this little leaf. I'm not sure what you call it. It's just a little wooden leaf that's kind of tacked on there. So we'll just heat it up and it should pop right off. I love my heat tool. It's a great thing. It gets a little really warm and I'm always burning my fingers, but that's okay. So be careful when you are using a heat gun. You don't want to burn your fingers. Just take your time, heat it up a little bit at a time, and it should pop right off. And there it goes. I might use that. It's kind of cute, so we're going to hold on to that. But let's get the bow off and everything else. Took the price tag off, put a little bit of craft paper on the back, the same way I did in the last project. And now we're going to take the ivory paint and give this a couple good coats and then paint the pumpkins in the pumpkin color and the give thanks with the antique wax. I'll do that and be right back. And here I am. Look at that. Everything is painted. Took 2 coats of the ivory. I only did 1 coat on the pumpkins because they had those little black spots and I kind of liked how they looked coming through. But the ivory is just a little too stark right now. So let's take some of that antique wax on a dry brush. So I'm just going to dab a little in and then I'm going to take most of it off and then dry brush over the pumpkin. And I kind of give it, some curve to it, follow the curves of how a pumpkin really would be. And that would kind of give it a little bit more dimension. So we'll just keep adding it until we like the look of it. If you like a little bit more, you put a little bit more on. You like a little less, you take a little ivory and go over it. It's your craft project, right? So you do it till you like it. I'm going to do it till I like it. So not a lot, just a little bit, and I think that looks pretty good. As I said, I just wanted to take that starkness of the ivory off. All right, now we're going to add our give thanks, and I got to kind of put it up towards the top third because we're going to add those pumpkins down at the bottom. So we want to make sure that this give thanks is really seen. So I'm just going to add a couple dots of hot glue here and there, and then just set it on there where I think it'll look good. I think it looks good right about there, even though it's a little cockeyed, but that's okay. I like things that aren't exactly perfect and perfectly straight. My husband said if it's not a right angle, it's a wrong angle, but that's not me. So anyways, get those glue strings out of the way, and we'll clean it up as we go. Get that taken care of out of there. All right. I think that looks pretty good. What do you guys think? Yeah, I like that. And I do want to use that, but boy, that looks a little bit too new. So let's put it on there, but I think I'm going to take some of the antique wax and kind of go over it too. Give it a little bit more age. Because with everything else being a little bit aged, I want to age this part of it too. Yeah, there we go. That looks good. A lot better than it did. Awesome. Add a little bit more here and there. Like it. Awesome. So there we go. All right, next thing we're going to do is we are going to add our pumpkins. So I am going to snip off the bottom. There we go. And I add a little bit of the antique wax to the stem. Just a little. Not much. And now I will glue this pumpkin over on the left-hand side. So kind of see where it's going to touch the sign. So it's going to touch here at the bottom and then on the pumpkin just a little bit. And then set that in place and hold it there until it sets up. Doesn't take very long at all. Now that's all set up, we're going to do the second pumpkin. So snip off that bottom. These are really small things, so just scissors snip off that, I don't know what you call it, skewer, I guess, pretty good. So a little bit where the pumpkin touches the sign, and set that little pumpkin in right there. I like that. I think that's going to look really good. All right. Yeah, I like that. So far, so good, but we're not done. So I'm going to take some of the Dollar Tree jute, and I am going to wrap that stem and give that kind of a look. So just put a little dab of glue right there at the bottom, set my jute into it, and push it down with the facial spatula there. And then just wrap it around until it's completely covered. You want to give it a good thick covering of the twine. That way it looks substantial, like a nice stem. Cover over all that ivory. There we go. Bring it around. And I want to make sure you cover the top too, because you want it to look finished. So I bring it over the top, and just like that. Add a little bit of glue. And our stem will be completed. So push that in. Could have used the spatula here, but my fingers are just so desensitized to the heat sometimes. Just be careful when you're working with hot glue. Have a bowl of water off to the side just in case. Now I want to add some of I want to make a bow out of the raffia to put on the top. So I'm just going to take a few strands, get them kind of lined up. Raffia is unruly sometimes, I'll tell you, it really is. So I'm going to take and I'm going to put a little knot right in the center of the raffia, and that should help me tie a nice little shoestring bow. As I said, you know me, I am so bow challenged, it's not even funny. There we go. Now we just got to fuss with it a little bit and get it to be the look that we're going for. Snug it down and make sure that our loops are about even. And then we are going to put it right up onto the stem, right in the middle, towards the top. There you go. Hold it in just until it sets. Get rid of some of those glue strings. I love hot glue, but I hate the glue strings. If anybody has any good ways of getting rid of them, please let me know. Put it down in the comments, because they are just the bane of my existence sometimes. Glue strings everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. All right. So far, I think that looks good, but it's still missing something. So we're going to put some more raffia, so it kind of looks like the pumpkins are sitting in straw. So I'm just going to take it a couple of pieces at a time and kind of bend them over on themselves. And then I will, just in half, just like that. And then take a little bit of glue and put a little glue where I want my raffia to go. And then push the raffia right into that glue, just like that. And then cut off the excess. And I'm going to keep doing that like that all the way across the bottom of this sign. So you don't want to watch me sit here with the raffia, so we will speed this up a little bit and get all that raffia in there. Make sure you leave a message in the comments for me, guys, as to what project you liked the best. So this is project number 2. We do have one more project, and that project actually has a little bonus project in it. So can't wait for you to see my next one. But let's finish this one first. Okay, there we go, some more raffia. I think we need some more on this side. You know, again, it's your craft. Do it till you like it. I'm doing mine until I like it. Now, I think we need some on either side of the outside part of the pumpkins. So put a little bit down in there, trim that off. And on the other side, there we go. I think that looks good. All right, great. Now that we've got all the raffia in, it's kind of unruly a little bit. So we're going to give the whole thing a haircut. And that way it won't be covering up that little leaf motif that's in the middle there. So we'll just give it a haircut. Just like that. Make it look as neat or as unruly as you want it. Shake the excess. Oh, I think there still might be a little tall in a couple places. So let's take off just a little bit more. There we go. I don't want it totally even either, but just enough to make it look neat. And there we go. There is project number 2 finished. Okay, for my last project today, I got this little door at Dollar General, and I paid $5 for it. But this isn't going to be a one and done project. Told you, there's a bonus here. So I really don't like that bow or the wreath that's on here, so we're going to get rid of those right off the bat. And so again, that's just glued on, so we'll heat up the glue and take that bow off. And that bow kind of feels like plastic. It doesn't even feel like a cloth, ribbon, or anything like that. So that's going right in the trash. Normally things like this I save so that I might use it on another project. No, that bow is not getting saved. So we'll just peel off any of the excess glue and get that out of there. Awesome. Now let's work on getting rid of this wreath. And this wreath, I'm not going to keep very much of it either. I will keep part of it though, but I'll tell you, those berries and those leaves, oh gosh, that just needs to go in the trash. All right. So now they've not only got this glued down, but they have it stapled down. So I'm like, really? You got to be kidding me here. So get some of the glue softened up and try to get it pulled out as much as possible. This takes a little maneuvering. Just be patient and you should be able to get things like this taken off of your little projects. I'm trying to grab a tool here to try to loosen up some of the staples. So there we go. Pull out that. Get it up, because right now what this wreath is just a piece of wire that they strung the beads on, and that little motif that they have that says, I think it says thankful, I'm not sure, thankful or grateful, one of the two. All right, so we're gonna try to get this out of there, pull it up. Boy, I'll tell you, for being a Dollar General item, they really put this thing together good. I mean, they didn't use great things with it, but it wasn't coming off. I'll tell you, it took a little bit of gumption here to get that out. All right. So I think I'm going to save the beads possibly for another project, and we'll use that little leaf in this project a little bit later on. So I'm just going to sit here and fiddle getting the rest of the glue off and getting the staples out, and we'll be right back as soon as I get that taken care of. All right. Yep, get that glue off. All right. You didn't have to sit there and watch me do that. Now I'm going to have to putty in those holes, and then I'm going to give it a coat of the Ivory, Waverly Ivory chalk paint, and then antique it. And we'll be back. So there we go. I just did a quick coat of the Waverly chalk paint in Ivory because I just wanted it not to be so stark. But now we're going to take our antique wax and give it a distressing, a little bit of dry brushing. Make sure that it doesn't look as pristine as it does right now. So, where's my brush? Where is my brush? There it is. Okay, got it. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to hit the camera. So again, we're going to dry brush this one just like we did the last project. I'm really going to concentrate on like the edges of the door where it would like normally age being out in the weather, and the high spots. You know, not so much the low spots or anything, but all those little high spots that the weather was going to catch. So I'll just keep going. And just do it until it looks good to your eye. But this is a really cool little thing. When I saw it, I knew exactly what I wanted to do with it. And yes, it was $5. It wasn't like a Dollar Tree thing, but it's, you know, MDF, and it's got some character to it. So I really like it. And as I said, it's not going to be just for one season and then done. Oops, I'm giving it away a little bit, aren't I? All right, so finish up this dry brushing. Almost done. We're getting there. You know, and if you're dry brushing and you don't like the way it looks, you can always cover it over with a little bit more ivory paint or put more on. However it looks good to your eye. Yep, there we go. A little bit more at the top. There. I think that looks pretty darn good to me. Awesome. Done and done. All right, and get that out of the way. And on to the next part. Okay, so we're going to let that dry. And I'm going to make a bow, a better bow than they had. And I wasn't going to make you sit there and painfully watch me make a bow, so I made that off camera. But we have the bow, and we are using these little Velcro dots from the Dollar Tree. And I am going to put one of the Velcro dots onto the door, and then the other, the soft one, I will put onto the back of the bow, just like that. So push that on and put it in there. So that way we can change this bow whenever we feel like it. So we have that. Now we need to make a wreath, and I'm thinking, what am I going to use for a small wreath base? I'm not going to use a piece of wire like they did, so I'm going to use this jute. Now I'm going to make a very deep angled cut on this end of the jute, and then I'm going to measure it out, check it out on the door, see how big I want it, and then right there where I want to cut it, I'm going to make another deep angle cut, so that way when I overlap them, they won't it won't be like a doubled up area. So you put the two pieces that you cut at an angle together, and it makes like one single continuous circle that looks like it's all the same size. It's not doubled up in one area. So I just added a little hot glue, and I am using my fingers to kind of smush it all in together. And again, if your fingers aren't used to the heat of the hot glue, you can use those little pink finger protectors and things like that. But again, make sure you use safety. So there we go. We got a nice little round wreath base. I think that'll be good. Now I picked this up at the Dollar Tree. It's a little garland, and it's got like orange and a burgundy berry on it. So I thought this was really neat for fall. I'm just going to start it off here and then kind of measure out enough to go around twice. So that way I get enough berries on there. I want the berries to look kind of full. So we'll cut that off, and if it's not big enough, we can always add a little bit, another little piece in. So I'm going to start right at the top where I glued those two together, and I'm just going to wind it around and just kind of position the berries towards either the front or the middle or the side, but I want to make sure the berries aren't on the back of, or what I'm considering the back of this wreath. So all right, we're not going to want to sit here and watch me keep wrapping this around. And as I said, I'm going to wrap it around twice. So there's a lot of berries on it because I really like those berries. They're really kind of neat. So I think we'll speed it up here in just a second, get that speeded up, and we will be right back after I get all those berries on. right, there we go. We got all the berries all wrapped around. They look nice. Kind of position them where I want them. No, I didn't like that extra berry. Pull that off. And there we go. So I have a nice little berry. Now I am going to use that little leaf that says grateful, but again, that looks too new to compared to everything else that we're doing. So we're just going to take a little bit of the antique wax and just go over it like we did the leaves in the last project. Just, you know, a little extra around the edge, wipe it off. It looks pretty good. There's not really a lot of wax on my brush at all, so nothing's coming off. Let's add a little bit more. There we go. Yep, just like that. Yep, see now it'll look good. We don't want to totally obliterate the word, but we want to get enough on there so that it looks like we actually antiqued it. There, that looks pretty good. All right, so we will take our hot glue and we are going to glue that to the top center of our wreath, just like that. A little dab will do ya. And of course, it's my Surebonder. Stick with the best. Love my Surebonder. All right. I know I used a different glue gun in a video, and I will never do that again. Actually, I think I gave that one now to my daughter. Anyways, the other little embellishment that was on that wreath was just this little teeny bow out of jute. So why throw it out? You know, why make another one? Might as well use what they had on there, right? I paid $5 for it. Use as much of it as I can. I'll probably use those blue and white beads on something this winter, because I like doing like a blue Christmas type thing, or maybe just something for January, blue and white. All right, I think our little wreath came out great. Just make sure that it's not going to fall off. Make sure that glue's nice and dry. Awesome. Looks good to me. So now I am going to put everything together. So I'm going to take the picky part of the hook and loop, and I'm going to put one at the top of the door, and that's where our bow is going to go. And then we're going to put another one at the bottom. There we go. Get that glued in there. I know it has sticky stuff on it, but I use the glue so that way I know it's going to stay. It's not going to pop off anytime in the near future. It'll be nice and secure. So we'll put a little bit of glue and the soft side of the hook and loop onto our little embellishment. And then again, we're going to put the picky side of the hook and loop onto the door. And now we can add our wreath. Oh, well, let's put the bow on first. Okay, so there's the soft side of the hook and loop, and put that right on there, and it's not going to go anywhere. Looks cute. And now we will put our little wreath on. Now, I think that looks adorable for fall, but as I said, we're not going to use it just for fall, right? Okay, so what are we going to do? We're going to take that off, and we'll take this off, and look what I went and did. I made another wreath that you could use for Christmas time and another bow. I just have to put the soft side of the hook and loop onto each of them. So that's what I'm doing right now. I hadn't done that yet. So put that on there. I put a little glue on to make sure it sticks. There we go. We have a Christmas wreath on our door now. And we'll do the same thing with our bow. A little bit of glue. And we will put the soft side of the hook and loop again there. And there we go. And it's ready for Christmas. So we can change this out anytime that we want. We can make a bow and a wreath for Valentine's Day, for Easter, for spring, whatever holiday you want. But right now it's fall, so let's take it right back to our fall. And there we go. And that's going to look so good with all of our other projects that we've made today. All right, everyone, here are all 3 of the completed projects. I think they came out good. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I would really appreciate you doing so. It helps my channel grow. Click the bell icon so you can be notified when I do upload new videos. And until next time, guys, live fully, love deeply, and learn something new every day. Bye.